our youth services librarians, and today we're going to Crafternoon at home. So we're going to be making tin can decor. I've got a whole bunch of supplies laid out, and we'll go through what you need, and then we'll do a demo on a few options on how you can finish it. So I've got some tin cans here, a couple different sizes. This one was a lot of beans, this one was not as many beans. But in any event, both sizes have been, the label's been removed. They've been washed of food residue from the inside. And if they had sharp edges, I kind of tamped them down a little bit so that you wouldn't cut yourself on the inside of the can. That's probably a good thing for a grown-up to make sure before you start using the can for your craft. So make sure that that's done first. Got cans. I've got some popsicle sticks. We've got some skinny ones. You could also use fat ones. I've got plain skinny, fat pre-colored ones, and then some plain fat craft sticks. Any of them will work. Doesn't matter. You could do a combo of both sizes, all one size, some pre-colored, some plain. You could decorate them. And for decorating, I've got some markers. These are just like washable markers, and they work great on the craft sticks. Or I also have some permanent markers, but be careful with these because you don't want to get them all over your table or your counter or wherever you're doing your craft. And then if you don't have craft sticks, you could also use paper. So I've got just like a regular size computer paper. This one has like some fun speckles on it, but plain white works just as well. And then I've got some construction paper, a couple different colors, but whatever paper you have at home, even if it's like leftover scrapbook paper or I don't know, any kind of paper, it would work. I've also got some rubber bands, which we're gonna need for if we're gonna use craft sticks. I've got some ribbon. This one's green, my favorite color, but I have some other like pre-cut ribbon or whatever you have will work. Doesn't really matter. I've got scissors. If we're gonna use paper, we're gonna need to cut the paper to fit our can. And then I've got some just regular like office tape to attach the paper to the can. You don't really need this if you're going to use popsicle sticks, because you really only need the rubber band for that part. I've also got a ruler in case you want to be really precise with the way you cut your paper before you put it on your can. So this is what I've got, but if you have other decoration items like stickers or something like that, that would probably work really well too. So we'll start with, I'm going to use one of my small cans, and we'll start with the popsicle stick method. So the first thing we'll do is take one of our rubber bands and put it right over the can. So I'm going to put it like right around the middle-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you can either decorate your sticks or do like a combination of decorating some, coloring some, or leaving some plain. It kind of depends on the look that you're going for. I've already decorated some of mine with a little swirl and dot pattern, but zigzags or a drawing or words, whatever you want would work really well. So I'll do a couple more. I'm doing a blue and green palette because those are some of my favorite colors. So we'll do a couple more of my pattern that I've decided on. Now we're ready to go. So what we're gonna do is actually put our popsicle stick through our rubber band, but right next to the can. So you can see how it's gonna go on. We'll just lift the rubber band a little bit so we can get our popsicle stick in. And you can leave the can just on the table while you do it, so it doesn't slide all over. And these popsicle sticks, because they're the smaller ones, are just about the size of my can. You can see they don't go that much over and they don't go under. So it'll just cover the side of the can. Where these guys are a little bit taller. So you'd end up with like that much extra stick over your can, which is also cute, but I'm just not using those today. Right. So they're all around the can. Whoops, seems like some of them want to fall out. Maybe we'll take one out. Looks like maybe I put one too many in. And then I think that they might stay a little bit better if I put one extra rubber band around them. But it's easier to put an extra rubber band once they're all on than trying to go through 2 rubber bands at a time. I feel like it's a little bit harder. All right. So there we go. I've got all of my sticks on. The whole thing is full. And right now I've got 2 rubber bands on. So if you like the way the rubber band looks, you could just leave the rubber band all plain, but I kind of want to add a little extra flair to mine. So I'm going to take my ribbon to cover my rubber band. So we'll just measure around the can, and I'm going to leave myself some extra because I want to be able to tie it in a bow. So that looks like it should be enough for me to be able to tie it. So we'll cut, and then I'll make, since I have 2 rubber bands, I want to cover them both. I'll measure the first one that I did so that way they're the same size, and I'll cut a second ribbon. So that's good. And then this part might be a little hard, so you might want someone to help you. So you'll wrap it around the can, around the rubber band, and then do a knot. I'm going to double knot mine because I don't want it to move at all. So I'll double knot, and then I'm going to tie it in a bow. I bunny ear before I tie a bow. And then I'm going to do the second one the same way. I'm going to lay the can right on the table with the rubber band. And then bring it around, tie it in a knot. We'll do another double. And then I'll tie a bow. Bunny ears again. All right, so my first one is done. It's super cute, all color coordinated. We've got our bow, all of our sticks with our designs, and it's ready to go. You could use this as a pencil holder on your desk, would be like a really good use for it. If you need a place to collect spare change, I think this would be really nice. Or if you wanted to pot a little flour, we do have, it is a good time for seeds. So you could start a seed in this and then transfer it once it gets too big. The only thing I would say about that is you might need a drainage hole in the bottom, and that's definitely a job for an adult. I did not do that to mine, so I probably won't use mine as a planter, but I do think that that's a great idea if you have the extra help and things to do it. So that's the way to do it with popsicle sticks. And if you don't have any popsicle sticks, don't worry, you could also make it with just paper and decorate. So we'll use my other small can, and I'm just going to use this plain sheet of paper that's about the size of regular computer paper, so you don't need anything fancy. I'm going to take my can and lay it on the edge of my paper so the top can is lined up with the edge of the paper, and then I'm going to mark where the can ends with a pencil. So now that I see where it ends, I'm going to roll it a little bit over and make another dash, roll it over a little bit more and make a dash, and we'll roll it back. And I'm just making sure that the edge of the can is lined up with the edge of my paper, and making dashes right at the edge of the bottom of the can. And then what I'm going to do is take my ruler and connect the lines of all my dashes. So I've got it all lined up here, and I'm just going to make one big line. So now from the top of the paper to that yellow line will be the size of the paper for my can. So we'll go ahead and cut the extra off that I won't need. So that's all done. And now you're ready to decorate. So you have the exact size, so you know exactly where to put your decorations. I think I'll use some colored pencils on this one since I used markers on my other one. We'll draw a few flowers. But you can make your design as little or as big as you want. That's up to you. Maybe one more flower. And then I think I'm going to connect them all on a green vine. So we'll do that. Couple leaves on my vine. All right, so my design's all ready for the side of my can, and this is where the tape will come in. So what I'm gonna do is take a piece of tape and then fold it around on itself so it creates a little loop, like my little pinky finger could fit inside of it. Now it's sticky on all sides. I'm going to put that on the side of the can, and I'm going to make a couple more. I'm only doing it this way because I don't want to see as much tape on the outside, but the tape is clear, so it probably wouldn't matter if you just did one strip on the side. So now we'll take this and lay my paper right on the tape. And then I'm going to need a little bit more tape around the sides of the can to hold the paper. So I'll do another couple loops, and then I'll take the can and roll it. So now the tape is stuck to the paper, and it looks like I still have some can that's not covered. So we'll do some more tape. Then I'll roll the can again. And it looks like I've got a little bit of extra paper, but I think instead of cutting it off, I'm just gonna wrap it around and then do 1 or 2 more pieces of tape right underneath on the edge of the paper. So then that way it'll go all the way down. And now my can's all decorated with paper. If you wanted to add ribbon to this design, you can do that as well, even if you're not covering the rubber band. Ribbon is always a fun extra. And that's it. We've done 2 different options. We've got our popsicle stick option and our paper option. I think either is great, and it's a great way to upcycle some of your tin cans. Thanks for crafternooning with me today.